If history had taken a different turn some 16 years ago, an entire generation of ragamuffins might be grown up playing Diablo on their Game Boys. Way before smartphones ruled the world, one Blizzard North programmer, called Jonathan Morin, began to wonder what the franchise might look like on the small screen. Speaking to Variety for a recent feature, Morin revealed, not curious about the idea, after spying the Game Boy dev kit in a studio corridor. After mulling it over, he eventually began working on a secret Pokemon-inspired prototype he called Diablo Jr. Pokemon was really big at the time, he recalled. We thought we might do something similar where you could fight these monsters and get this whole different genre, age group. Because Diablo was for adults, that was the genesis of it. After around 6 months of covert development, he eventually got a demo running on the original Game Boy, and had enough in place to show a character walking around the world. In terms of the gameplay, Morin's small team were debating whether to try and preserve the series' signature hack and slash elements, or follow in Pokemon's footsteps, and take a turn-based approach. Unfortunately though, they never got any further than that. Managerial changes and new owners killed the project before it did even begun to truly take shape. But with the launch of Diablo Immortal, the franchise's smartphone debut imminent, Morin believes was probably ahead of the curve. Those interested in learning more about Diablo Jr. should head on over to Variety for the full story. Reports have emerged that Verizon is quietly working on its own engine in the emerging cloud-based game streaming race. According to The Verge, the service is called Verizon Gaming, and is currently undergoing a selective alpha test on the NVIDIA Shield, though a Google Play rollout is reportedly planned for later this month. The trial, according to emails to alpha participants, aims to test the performance of the 135 streamable games offered in the closed alpha. While the existence of Verizon Gaming is all but confirmed at this point, most of the actual details about the app itself are less certain. For instance, there is a chance, based on a logo in a screenshot obtained by The Verge, that the service is built on the game streaming app Atomic, which itself officially launched just last year, after a 2-year-long beta period. There is also the likelihood that Verizon Gaming will eventually take advantage of 5G broadband, though the alpha currently only works with a Wi-Fi connection. A handful of job listings on Verizon's website, spotted by The Verge, advertised that the company is looking to hire product managers for cloud gaming, 5G mobile gaming, and other related roles. News of Verizon's secretive game streaming app comes just days after reports emerged that Amazon is reportedly looking at starting its own cloud-based service as well, though any information on Amazon's service comes from unnamed sources. That service is reportedly set to go live in 2020. Google, meanwhile, has already run public tests for its Project Stream cloud gaming attempt by offering beta participants the opportunity to play Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Odyssey through its Google Chrome-based streaming app, Games for You. As of the Brexit deal finds its agreement looking for game devs, Games for You has put together a breakdown of the Brexit deal the United Kingdom government is set to vote on this month, outlining why the organization says the plan is a raw deal for game developers in the United Kingdom. It's a good resource for devs that have yet to catch up on the latest Brexit development, as the breakdown dives into the specific changes of the deal that would affect game devs in the United Kingdom, and should the plan be approved. That includes topics mentioned in the withdrawal agreement like citizens' rights, governance agreements, and border agreements, along with topics from the political declaration, like data protection, United Kingdom involvement in EU programs, the movement of goods and services, mobility and access to talent, and other topics missing from the declaration entirely. The withdrawal agreement is highly dense, at 585 pages, but fundamentally, it deals with relatively basic departure issues, not the practical matters for ongoing business and consumer life we really need to know. By contrast, the political declaration is much shorter, but full of waffle and jargon, sometimes 4 paragraphs at a time. I'll use games for you. This makes it really difficult to know what it actually means or could be used in practice, which was precisely the United Kingdom government's intention, to give it the greatest room for maneuver in the future. But this also means it robs business and consumers of any certainty. Games for You itself is an anti-Brexit, pro-European Union, ORGANIZATIONTHAT advocates for the United Kingdom's game industry. The group recently published an open letter with signatures from 1,300 individuals and 127 companies involved with game development tasks, while asking the United Kingdom government to put an exit plan to a public vote. Organizers of the 198th Annual Game Developers' Choice Awards, the leading peer-based video game event, celebrating the industry's top games and developers, are excited to today announce this year's nominees. Winners in all categories will be honored at the Game Developers' Choice Awards (GDC8) ceremony, taking place on Wednesday, March 20th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. at the San Francisco Moscone Center during the 2019 Game Developers Conference, and held in conjunction with the Independent Games Festival Awards. Organizers are also announcing that the Game Developers' Choice Awards will be hosted once again by Tim Schafer, LucasArts industry veteran and founder of Double Fine Productions, Psychonauts 2. Both GDC8 and DIF Awards are available to attend for all DD 2019 pass holders, as well as streamed via http Twitch.tv other to be announced streaming platforms. The developer-picked GDCA nominations are led by Rockstar Games, Red Dead Redemption 2 with a total of 7 nominations, followed closely by Sony Santa Monica's God of War and Insomniac Games, Marvel Spider-Man with a total of 6 nominations each. Rockstar Games, Red Dead Redemption 2, the sprawling adventure set in a richly detailed open world at the dusk of the Wild West era, received nominations for Best Audio, Best Design, Innovation Award, Best Narrative, Best Technology, Best Visual Art and Game of the Year. Sony Santa Monica's God of War, the epic new chapter of an influential action series that features stunning battles with gods and an involving tale of a father's struggles, guiding his son through an unforgiving world, was nominated for Best Audio, Best Design, Best Narrative, Best Technology, Best Visual Art and Game of the Year. Marvel Spider-Man, the acclaimed action-adventure game developed by Insomniac Games, starring the beloved comic book character, was also nominated for Best Audio, Best Design, Best Narrative, Best Technology, Best Visual Art and Game of the Year. Other titles receiving multiple nominations include the rewardingly challenging platformer Celeste from Matt Makes Games, the innovative puzzle whodunit game Return of the Obra Dinn from LucasPosts 3909, the deeply immersive take on a classic puzzle game, Tetris Effect from Monsters, Resume Enhance, and the emotional tale of Life Found Love, Florence from Mountains, an video game that was released and made publicly available during the 2018 calendar year, irrespective of platform delivery medium, is eligible for free nomination at the 2019 Game Developers Choice Awards. Both nominees and winners are selected by the Game Developers Choice Awards Pacific International Choice Awards Network, ICON, which is an invitation-only organization comprised of leading game creators from all parts of the industry. The complete list of nominees, including honorable mentions, for the 19th Annual Game Developers Choice Awards, is as follows.